Okay, my friends, it's Mickelson Trail time. We are staying at the KOA right off Needles Highway, so we're going to go down this little gravel path through the campground, get down to the Needles Highway, take a left, and go find us some Mickelson Trail. And that's where we're going to be for the next 50 some miles. Come on along for the ride. All right, the Needles Highway is great going downhill, and you can tell that there's really not a lot of shoulder here, and luckily there's also not a lot of traffic. So this is a really smooth little ride downhill. I think top speed was 26, which for an old fat guy going downhill is awesome. Camera angle there, but it's on the bike and I'm too damn lazy to take it off. So we're on the Mickelson Trail today and paying the fee, putting our fee deposit envelope in here, $5 to ride the trail today, and going down from Hill City, just outside Hill City. Started at the KOA, and we're going to Edgemont. All right, I'd like to point this out that, hey, we're on the trail, so we're paying the trail fee. It's $5 to ride for the day. It's like $20 to ride for the year. And when I'm in an area where there's a trail fee, if I'm there for over a couple days, I'll just go ahead and buy the year pass because it goes towards the trails. This one is maintained really well. And overall, I really enjoy the fact that I can get out there and enjoy this beautiful part of our country. $5, best deal around. So if you're going to ride the Mickelson, you need to know that this is going to be a lot of your view. Just straight. This is a rails to trails, and those trains are really not making a lot of hairpin turns. So also, it's going to weave in and out of the highway. You'll go under the highway, so you don't have to worry about crossing over. That just happened because we were coming off the Needles Highway there and getting ready to, head south on the trail. All right, so here we are, about 5.5 miles from the campground. We've now crossed over to the west side of the road underneath a little tunnel, and this is a 3% grade. And I remember from the last time, I did this, I was thinking, a train went on this. It can't be that bad. Well, yeah, they're a little soul crushing. So there's that. But the nice thing is, there's shade. Well, made it about 8 miles now out of that Hill City area. Down here, gonna be at a little rest stop and taking some break in the sun. Okay, so here is Crazy Horse Memorial. That is Crazy Horse right there. So we're off the Mickelson Trail again and started in Hill City, or just outside Hill City, and now we're at the entrance to Crazy Horse. Actually, just technically past that, and yeah, just stopped and talked to some nice people from California out here enjoying the trail, and yeah, we're gonna get back at it. So we'll talk to you later. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. Because that's the way we are, too. I bought my pass here this time just because I'm only doing a day.
Okay.
But in other times, I just buy the year pass.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
We're leaving the 16th.
come back. So.
8 days, I think.
But if you're downtown here, there's a place to actually get the
pass.
physical pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get stopped and get ticketed.
Yeah, yeah. You know.
This should be good. He already put the money in the bin, so.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing too. You know, I hate. Of course, when you're in South Dakota, what do? You talk to some people from Texas about RAGBRAI. Yeah, kind of crazy. Anyway, past the mountain trailhead stop, got some great water fill up there. Hopefully I got that on video. And yeah, now just heading towards Custer. Pretty much going downhill from here, I think. And yeah, that's the deal. So pretty scenery, and very nice. A lot of e-bikes out. Whatever your thoughts are on e-bikes, you know, I like when they're pedal assist. Not really a fan of the throttle bikes, but that's just me. But I will say this, that this is definitely a great trail. The couple that I just spoke with there really had a great outlook on it. You know, their kids are, their older kids are with their families, and they are doing a couple tours, and so they took out their bikes, and everything's good. So you know, it's great. Everybody's doing something. Keep moving. Keep out there. You know, Christy and Annette, Wonder Woman, those two are just inspiring. If you have never seen their channel, check it out. I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, they're out there. They're kayaking some epic kayak trail deal. So yeah. Anyway, just keep moving. Get out there. I think Doozer says that too. Get out there. Is that Doozer? I don't know. Anyway. Okay, here we go. Riding the trail. talk about this for a minute. We have the north half and the south half of the Mickelson Trail. Starts in Deadwood, goes to Edgemont. Deadwood to Hill City is about halfway. In my opinion, it's a good breaking off point. And then Hill City to Edgemont predominantly is downhill. Now you've got some flats and you got some ups and you got a fair amount of down, but Deadwood to Hill City is definitely got more climb coming out of Deadwood and then heading back into Hill City. So you might want to keep that in mind when you're planning your trip to ride this trail out in South Dakota. Now, here we are. Look at this paved trail. Woo! Doesn't last for long. Coming into town. And yeah, it's paved. That's kind of nice. This is Custer, South Dakota. Custer, South Dakota. So once back in civilization here, as you can see from the road up there, we're going to have to stop. Of course, we got a headwind. Look at that flag. Yep, got a headwind. Gotta have a headwind. Can't just have a nice, not windy day. Gotta have a headwind. All right. So, oh, you know I'm here. Basically, sticking on the trail. The guy that was driving the porta potty truck was looking at me like I was the sole dude keeping him in business. That's profiling. It's not right. Oh. So Custer is a nice little town. It has a nice little main street, and there's quite a few little restaurants. There's a Mexican restaurant that I really enjoy. Can't remember the name of it though, but if I remember the name of it and remember to do it, I'll put the link in the description. I'm going to be able to give you a little looky-loo at downtown Custer. That is it. Right down that way. All right. Enough pointing at things. Let's ride some bikes. I got one of these things. Never really trust these yet. So, we'll see how they do today. Okay. Thank you. Custer Chamber of Commerce over there, and got a cool Burlington Northern rail car. We can see this. This is in Custer. We're down here in the park, right off the trail, and it always says to bring, you know, a rain jacket and stuff like that in the thing, in your information that you can get pretty easily on the trail. And man, see that storm cloud up there? See that bad boy? That is what we're talking about. Storms come up and are pretty easy to start, and yeah, few years back when I did this with some friends, our tent sites got flooded out in a flash flood. While we were on the trail, we did not get rained on. Amazing. Just amazing. Anyway, back to it. Man, look at that storm. That is why they say to bring a raincoat. My raincoat, luckily, is at the campground still. Yeah, you heard it here first. Bring half the stuff, have all the fun. Oh, sorry. Is always what's the most beautiful part of the trail. And from Deadwood to Edgemont in almost 100 miles, there's such varied scenery and great views from all parts of the trail. You know, I'd highly suggest riding the whole thing. Whether it takes you 1 day, 3 days, whatever, go out and explore. It's a beautiful, beautiful area of the country. And of course, seasonally, it's different too. Springtime, summer, and of course, fall colors. So, yeah. You guys good? Good deal. Oh, cool. They've multiplied. I only saw one before. Okay. Sometimes the best shade is man-made. In a bridge, under a bridge, off the trail, past some quarry. I think it's around mile marker 27, 26, somewhere in there. Had a headwind now for a while. Hearing that it's raining up in Hill City right now, so skies are blue that direction. So I don't think we're gonna have to deal with that. And still seems like I've got about 28 miles or so to go to the end of the trail. Just changing the batteries on the camera, and we'll catch up later. We're back to the soul-crushing uphill sections. They're not that long, you know, and 4% grade is the average, I think, on the trail. But man, it's hot out. Haven't really had enough water. And yeah, it's a little tough right now for Mr. Phil. Hey, so we're at Lean Trailhead, and Lean Quarry is what it's called. Basically, and these most of these little rest areas have bike rack, picnic table, a place to sit, a bike workstation, and a water pump, which you saw me using earlier. It just takes a few pumps to get going, and there you have it, nice cold water. This Saris workstation, provided by some folks. Very much appreciate that. The Lean Quarry has a nice little area right here off to the trail side, and nice little view back there. I'm going to try and get a view for you here. So there's Lean Quarry. That's what it looks like, a rest area here on the Mickelson Trail. I've been the only person out here for a while. I mean, it's kind of warm, but yeah, kind of had the trail all to myself. A lot of e-bikes earlier on, and this is the end of the trail. Should have about 23 more miles to do the completion to Edgemont, and then getting picked up there. So anyway, just so you know, there's plenty of these rest areas. They're all really well marked too, and that's kind of nice. This is the inside. I just realized they didn't show that. Always have a plaque about the area, and bike rack over there, but you know, you can basically lean to anywhere. You know, you can bring your lunch, but you gotta pack your stuff out. So if you're packing lunch in, some panniers, whatever the case is, be sure to take all your stuff with you. You know, your mom doesn't work here. She's not picking up after you. So anyway, let's get back onto the trail. Now from Lean Quarry, And back on the trail. It's temperature-wise has gone down. Couldn't get the current temperature for my area a while ago, but back a few towns back it was 88 and the sun was out. There was a storm in Hill City and rained there, so I've been told. And now basically got some fresh cool water out of that pump, heading back down to Edgemont, and didn't see that snake. So, you know, he was outside himself. He's probably shit himself too. So anyway, about 4,600 feet of elevation right now. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Finally, it's gotten a little cooler, and my headwind's finally on. Man, that's something to be aware of when you're right beside the road. There's just no, I guess you'd call it no cover, but it's just a wind tunnel. It wasn't like that, or I don't remember it being like that when I was here before. You know, when I did this before, I did this on a 26-inch bike that I bought, God, I think probably 95, and it's a giant Yukon. Giant Yukon now is quite the thing, but this is steel frame, 26-inch tires, no suspension, and man, that thing, put some tires on it, had the bike shop kind of work on the gears with it. Not that they did anything, but it just wasn't shifting well. So basically they put some new cabling and shift controllers on it. And I brought it out here because I'd never ridden 100 miles on that bike. And this trail allowed me to do that. And then afterwards I was told by several people that riding 100 miles on a 26-inch tire bike is quite the feat. So it's always been a good memory. Enjoyed it a lot, and the people I was with as well. This is the Jameis Renegade that you've seen in other videos. I've had this since bought this when the World Series was won by the Chicago Cubs. The most recent time, not the one in like 100 years ago. So I actually bought it in Chicago too. So that this bike has provided a lot of adventure. It's basically stock. Had some different tires on it over the years. Just maintained it. You know, I got to rewrap the handlebars and, you know, new tires. Sprocket, I think, is original, but I don't know. I can't remember if I changed that out. Chain, I think I've gone through a couple of them. And, yeah, it's been a solid bike. Size-wise for me, being challenged of inseam, it's a great ride as well. So, yeah, Jameis Renegade. Now they've got fancy letters on their own. It's the Jameis Renegade, whatever. But this is old school Renegade. Kind of like it. Anyway, back to the trail. See if I can get you some good views here. Out here in Mickelson Trail, South Dakota. Killing it. see this trailhead. This is the last one before Edgemont. So, I'm gonna try and call my ride. And been in communication most of the day. So that's been good. But this is a Mini Kata trailhead. Sorry to all the Mini Katas that I'm screwing that over on. Anyway, yeah. So we should be less than 15 miles, I think, to the Edgemont. I was gonna say too, you know, last time I did this, which was a while ago, and I've said before, there was a lot more gates. They were closed, and there were gates with little signs on them that said, please close gate. And the more I think about that, you know, that's just a nice trail thing. Nice nice stewardship. We're going through people's land, and we're having a great time, and all they're asking, pretty simple request, close the gate. So yeah, it's all good. Anyway, public service announcement by Phil. And we're back on the trail. Edgemont. Gosh, I should have been a conductor. Okay, that is the last rest area there. Sheep Canyon, beautiful, but I'm done. There's a awesome picture there, but I'm done. There you go, Sheep Canyon. More Sheep Canyon. Over that side. Ooh. in our sights. Friends, at this time I was toast. You know, it got a lot hotter. It was about 10 degrees hotter than it was supposed to be. Had a headwind all day. Wham, wham, wham. But here it is, coming up there in that blue truck, Edgemont, South Dakota. That is the end of the trail, my friends. Made it.